Good afternoon and welcome all to Justice Southbury's 222nd consecutive weekly rally for social justice. Today is our Kind Community Rally. What does love your neighbor mean when the neighborhood shares a collective trauma? Last week's flood, right here, devastated many, inconvenienced all, and provided deep moments of grace. In real life, the suffering was vast. Online, on local social media sites, the kindness was widespread, including a new Facebook group here called Uplift Southbury. At this week's rally, we're going to focus on the second adjective in our vision statement, our vision of a more fair and kind community for all. And after my introduction, all are welcome to come on up and share any personal reflections or offer suggestions for community assistance. I want to just start by reading from an article in today's Waterbury Republican American entitled "Neighbors Lending a Hand to Flood Victims." Steve Bigham of the Republican American wrote, "Community outreach and support for those affected by last Sunday's catastrophic event in Southbury and Oxford began even before the floodwaters had receded. A week later, stories continue to emerge of heroism, gut-wrenching loss, and selfless acts of kindness for those hit by what is being described as a 1 in 1,000 year flood. Southbury resident Charlotte," and I'm going to keep out, I won't use the last names until I get their permission, "is one of many responding in the hours and days after the flood. She and her husband put aside their normal work schedules to first help a neighbor after his home washed away, and then by collecting $2,500 in donations by Friday. Some of the money they raised went to buy bikes and toys for children who live along Route 67, where floodwaters wiped out homes. Quote, "We knew it would be difficult to drive anywhere, so we just started walking Monday morning to see where help might be needed," end quote, Charlotte said. They didn't have to walk far as the devastation was nearly everywhere, as were people trying to figure out what to do in the wake of the disaster. Charlotte said, quote, we've been collecting donations for anyone who needs help, and I've been getting calls from people asking what needs to be done, so we are trying to help connect people, sort of be a facilitator. Brendan and Wendy of Woodbury were among the first to contact Charlotte, asking how they could help. Charlotte said, these two donated to all the GoFundMe pages, and then Brendan, who owns a remodeling company, contacted all his customers and instructed them not to pay his invoices, but to instead donate to the cause.
Yeah, wow.
Charlotte said, quote, "There are so many who need help. It warms your heart to see people come together," end quote. So I excluded the last names of the people in that article, but I will, of course, reach out to Charlotte and the others and see if they'd be willing to speak at an upcoming rally. I did already speak with the person who started the Uplift Southbury Facebook page and hope that she'll be able to come to a future rally. So yesterday, Kathy and I attended a local funeral that was unrelated to the flood. The priest talked about real love having 3 components. If we love someone, we will them goodness. We hope or pray that goodness and mercy will follow them all the days of their lives. But that's not enough. We can't just hope the person that we love. By the way, these are not his words. This is my riffing on what the priest said. We can't just hope that the person we love will be okay. Love means that we do something about it. We extend ourselves for their benefit. And that's still not enough to be love. Plenty of people help us not because they love us, but because we compensate them. The waitress and the chef don't love me by hoping I have a good meal and then doing something about it. Love means not expecting or requiring something in return. So love is made up of these 3. Will goodness. Do something. Expect nothing in return. And of course, as I heard this yesterday, I thought about how it applied to these good neighbors of Southbury and Woodbury and Oxford. Residents who had not planned to become August heroes. Residents who demonstrated the best of love your neighbor by willing goodness, doing something, and expecting nothing in return. Residents who are mostly anonymous. We don't know who they are. They helped people that they did not know. Regular people who saw a need and filled it because they loved their fellow neighbors and perceived their needs without having to know their names. Anonymously loving your neighbor is one of the most important parts of loving your neighbor. Random acts of kindness that aren't done for recognition, just will goodness and then do something. There's no quid pro quo. Just, fellow person, let me do something for you. And although the helper expects nothing in return, we all benefit if the person who was helped then is inspired to pass it on. The concept of paying it forward. Now, I was away for most of the flood and the aftermath. And by the time I returned, I couldn't do a lot more than just wave people through as we were navigating the closed and the one-lane roads. But even that act, I wave you on instead of going first, is a small part of loving your neighbor. It's a direct person-to-person, usually stranger-to-stranger, act of, hey, I'm in a hurry, we all are, and I really wish you weren't there so I could get to my destination more quickly. But there you are, so I will do my small bit of goodness, and I will do a small bit of something, and I ask for nothing in return. And if we do get the thank you wave in return, well, then it's like being here on the corner. Someone beeps for our love your neighbor sign, and we've made a fleeting, positive, wish you well social connection. Little acts of mutual connection combined with the large acts of selfless assistance add up to a more kind community for all. So let us here at Justice Southbury always remember why our vision statement is not just a more fair community for all, but also a more kind community for all. Thanks.